or to kick it off again. And I didn't tell him about that, what had happened. So anyway, to my surprise, he rang on the mobile. I answered it. Now the call went on. It must have been only maybe a minute or 2 minutes at the most. But as soon as I hung up, I experienced that kind of thing. It was really bad. I felt really strongly. It was mind's eye, obviously in my mind's eye, but it was really stronger than your normal mind's eye. I can sit here and imagine a rat, for example, but it won't be very strong because it's my mind's eye. But with that, whatever it was, the rats were very, very visible. So I felt rats crawling all over me. Then I felt myself in a coffin and the lid shut. Then I pushed myself out of that and I felt my body being chopped up. So I looked down at it to see if it was. This went on for a good while until I called my gin for help. That fell flat. It destroyed that. It wasn't any good. Then Brian had given me a sigil to work with, and I called on that angel, that sigil, and it literally just made it go flat. It stopped it, and it was horrific. So this had gone on, and it made me think about these serial killers in a totally different way. Now, when I see people like Letby, I won't say a whole name because when you say a whole name, it's kind of got a resonance with it of that evil. So her name is carrying that resonance of the evil, torturing little babies. It's horrific. And doing the mothers, can you imagine? I mean, I've had a baby. When you have a baby, it's literally the most precious thing in the universe, and all your love and your heart is in that little child, and to have that taken from you is I just wouldn't be able to control myself if that happened to me. I just wouldn't handle it, actually. But this is what people are having to handle in this world right now. And I believe that it's not human activity. It's something that is coming in, something that's coming into these people, not making excuses for them. They're irrelevant. I actually believe that they should be given the death penalty because they aren't studied when they're kept in captivity, and they still have it in them, so they can hurt the people around them. They can have an effect on the outside world. For example, I would say that a journalist would approach and there'll be a book about her. So that will go out there into the world. Anybody reading it will read her resonance in there and be affected by it. So she will still have that effect. So these people really should be given lethal ejection because they've been a conduit to something so dark. And why these people are chosen, they're normally broken in their childhood, in their babyhood. You'll probably find that the mother of the Letby individual had postnatal depression, couldn't deal with the baby. So that's why there's a kind of a that opens a pathway. And these dark entities, whatever they are, and we'll talk to Brian later about them, these dark entities then it's like a radar. They come up on the radar of these beings. Now, there's good and bad of these. Some people call them ET, some people call them jinn, some people call them demons, but there's certainly something that have a greater power. There's certainly something that in this age we're living at the moment, they have a stronger and stronger and stronger effect. I was reading the other day about a girl in Sweden, an 8-year-old who was raped and battered. She's now brain dead, moving on with her life. How can she move on with her life? And the boy that did it, I took a close look at him. I think he was an Afghan boy that come over here, and he was definitely holding one of these entities. I could see it in him, and so what they do, these people, they have these entities in them, and this is why other people around them don't know. They can't know because the entity doesn't come out when there's other people around. It just uses them, and they are like a mask for um, these entities. And the only this is why journalists can go and interview her till they're blue in the face. They'll never find out, oh, why did you do it? You can talk to people like Soham Das, and who I've got to know on email, Catherine Ransland, but you won't find the answers there. The answers aren't there. I literally spent my entire life looking for answers to this because of my father and my mother. They didn't kill me, but they certainly killed something in me, a part of me, and I had to live without that part of me. And I had to find out what it was. So I spent my entire life going to these people and inhaling people like Jeremy Bamber as well, study cases like Pottery Cottage, the Billy Hughes murder, and I know other people have studied it. They've got their own results. I have my results. I've tried to, I've tried to get it out there. I've tried to write about it in my new book, The Private Investigator's Phantom Twin. I've gone deeper into it because it is deeper. And when I was a little bit younger, I was afraid to talk about it because people don't like it. If I give an interview about Brady, Ian Brady, what is he like, which I've done in the past, like with Nikki Campbell, it's on YouTube, and I start talking about that, they don't like it. And then they think, oh, you're making excuses. It's not excuses. It's not an excuse for my father. I could gas my father and sleep like a baby. It's not about that. It's not about making excuses for these people. It's about finding what's going on in the world and finding how to deal with it. Now, the targets in murders like the Letby case aren't just the baby. The targets are the mother. It's ripping the soul out of the mother. They will never get over that. They will be feeling pain for the rest of their lives. And what these entities do, they will feed on that. So they'll be feeding on her. So it has tentacles that it passes on, and obviously the father and everyone around. So it's a very hard hit on humanity, what went on. And of course, it makes people think, well, no, your baby isn't safe anywhere. And of course, your child isn't safe anywhere in this world. I mean, look at the 8-year-old in Sweden that was murdered by the migrant that came over. It doesn't need to be a migrant. Letby wasn't a migrant. What we have to do, we have to be really careful of our children when they grow up, that they don't have this emptiness, and always nurture them, because this is how these entities get in humanity, through children that have been abused, children that haven't been treated right as a baby, and then they have something broken in them. They're not truly there with their whole souls, and the entities can get in. Obviously, not everybody who's been abused as a child, the entities can come in. I've been abused. If you're conscious of the abuse, if you keep Christ close, then you can't have this happen to you. These school shooters is the same thing. Some people believe in MK Ultra and mind control, but it's these entities. I'm sure the government have done stuff like that, or the deep state, but it's these entities that are multidimensional. They know more. They know more than humanity. They have more power than we do, and they basically use us to feed off our pain. The only antidote to it, and it's very hard if you've been a victim of it, because it makes you feel different from the rest of society, because everyone's in that Disneyland bubble, which is unreal. The world's a really dark place, but we see it as Disneyland. We go about our little happy lives, and oh, your house prices have gone up and everything's happy, and yada yada. But what we don't realize is there's a darkness that's got hold of the planet right now. And we think, oh, it's happening over there, it's happening over there. Only when we feel it. And often they say you're blessed to feel it, because then you reach for God, you reach for Christ, which is the only antidote when this has happened to you, when you've been a victim of this, whatever you call it, ET, extra dimensional, demonic, the jinn. We'll talk to Brian about that in a few minutes. Christ is the only antidote. So it's always best to stop these beings, if you've been a victim of it, feeding off your ongoing pain, is to keep Christ close, call down the blood of Christ, pray daily, call on that energy, ask for answers from it, and just keep it very, very close to you. That is the that is the only antidote. But these beings have really got a tight stronghold on Earth right now. I mean, look at Ukraine, what's happening out there, and it's only going to get worse. It's going to come all over the world. It's going to get darker, much darker, before it gets better. So over to you, Brian, to talk more about what you know about these intra-dimensional beings.
Okay, brilliant. I was listening to what you're saying. It's really interesting, and I think what we have to understand is how long has this been going on? This is not a new phenomena. Yeah. Okay. If we go back to the ancient Greeks believed that inside everybody we have something called a cacodon or a cacodemon. Yeah. And we also have the eudaemon. The cacodemon is the evil spirit, and the eudaemon is the good angel or spirit. Yeah? Okay. Now, essentially, how your personality develops is which demon you feed. If you feed the good one, you'll be a good person, hopefully. If you feed the bad one, you will go more towards the darker side of your personality and of your evolution. Okay. Now, the other thing is that we can actually do deals with these demons and not understand the deals we've been doing. And for what I understand about people with messed up psychologies, serial killers, etc., etc., at some stage they have contacted the cacodemon within them, and the cacodemon is only too pleased to take their darkest fantasies as far as they want to go. And unfortunately, there's lots of issues here. For example, what type of parenting you've had, what is your belief structure, what has been your environmental influences. All of this will influence what demon or you contact. Yeah. Okay. So someone like Bianchi or somebody of that ilk, they contact the cacodemon. They usually do it at an early stage. And there's usually a pattern, and the pattern is this. The person who is worshipping the cacodemon start killing small animals. And then they gradually build up and up and up and up until they kill their first human victim. But what they don't realize is the animals they are killing is to make the cacodemon stronger. And this can be done at a very deep conscious level because we're not taught about these things. We're not taught about classic Greek mythology. We're not taught about the other side of occultism. We're just fed fear. But the point being is that every human being on the planet has these two demons within them, and depending on which one you feed is the one that gets stronger. Now, there's another twist to it as well. There is a Gita. I won't say the name of the Gita because it is the strongest Gita and the most dangerous Gita in the world. Even adepts won't advise people to read it, and so I won't say it. But I will read you a passage from the Gita, and this is something to really understand. The word fear includes also states of mind as insecurity, despair and grief, all which arise from a consciousness of oneself as limited and separate from others, and which therefore can be dispelled only by realizing oneself as the all.